Welcome to the Lead at Home podcast, where every episode is about learning how to develop our parenting skills to achieve the best for our children. Here are your hosts, Sarah Franco and Jala Gaines.
Welcome, everyone, to the Lead at Home podcast. Today, I am here with my co-host, Sarah.
Hey, guys.
And I'm Jala, and today we're just going to be talking about ways to get creative in your home and how you can be creative with your family. So,
yeah, now let me major disclaimer here, because I am a mega left-brained person. I come from a family of left-brained people.
so it's a struggle.
It is not something that comes easily or naturally to me. I feel like Sean is definitely the more creative of the two, and I'm very thankful for him because I've learned a lot from him. But yeah, so how do we do this in our homes? How do we lead in this way, especially if it's a struggle and it doesn't come naturally? I think when I think creative, I don't know what you think about, Jayla, but I kind of think about, so how do we make the ordinary extraordinary?
That's good.
And how do we help fuel that in our children so that they're some, really kind of independent thinkers. I think even just like with kids, just that whole concept of like letting them get bored enough to get creative, with their play, where they're saying, I'm bored, not feeling like, okay, I'm the cruise director. I need to give you all your activities to do, but give them a little piece of something and let them run with it and see what they make from it. Kids have a great way of doing that, I think, especially if you give them enough time.
Yes, they will figure something out.
They do. They figure something out. And I remember with my girls, when they were younger, we would watch this show called Little House on the Prairie. Not sure if I grew up with it, so it's old.
I've seen it.
You have
that show? Yes.
It's a good show.
It's a great show.
Every Monday night, man, we used to watch that all together. But we had it on video with the girls, and so we would watch it. And when they would go outside to play, they would pretend they were the girls on Little House on the Prairie, and they'd be like picking these things off our bushes and squishing them up, pretending they were making cheese, or I don't know what they were. They just all kinds of fun things. So, but yeah, just giving them that space, I think, too, to be creative and not have it all figured out for them, not be in front of electronics 24/7, because I do think that kind of squelches creativity, right?
Yes. The other day, I don't remember where we were, but Jordan and I were sitting side by side. It may have been at a park or something. I really don't remember, but we just saw a group of kids, and they're like at their prime, like play, imaginative age, and they're all just sitting there with their devices.
Oh.
Like no one's talking to each other.
At a park?
Literally, yes. I'm pretty sure it was a park, because I just remember a group of them. They had shorts on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was at the park. And they were all just on their devices, sitting in a little circle. And I'm like, this is crazy. Because at that age, when I was that age, I was dreaming up every game you could imagine. And I really think that the enemy of creativity today is like the convenience of just having electronics.
Yeah.
And, VR and all these things that can take care of the creativity part for you. You just take it in. And I know that growing up, my mom would do all sorts of cool things. Like my mom was an arts and crafts girl. Like when I think of creative, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
To her core, like scrapbooking.
Oh, wow.
And yes. And like we have like stacks and stacks of scrapbooks.
I have good intentions. I have a box of good intentions.
Yes. And like I remember one project in particular, I guess, that she would always do is she would take, she couldn't draw, And so, but I would always be like, is there something I can color? Is there something I could color? And so she would take just a blank piece of paper and she would make a whole bunch of scribbles. And then she would tell me to color in the parts where the lines like intersected. And it was always so pretty at the end.
Wow.
It's hard to describe, but
That's neat.
she would always do that for me. And I just remember that being like, it would take up a good chunk of time. Like I would focus on it and choose all different sorts of colors. And then she'd help me hang it up on my wall. That always stood out to me. It was something simple. It maybe took her like 30 seconds to do, but then it took me like a good hour.
Right.
And so
I love that.
Just thinking of things that you can do as a parent that will not, stress you out a ton, but your kids will have fun. Like I remember going to the dollar store and we would go and pick out all the little wall decals and she'd be like, just go crazy on your wall, like decorate your wall. And it doesn't damage the wall. They peel right off. Yeah. And it's just like, just thinking of things like it's hard at first, but the more you do it, the more you think of those little things, it just starts to come natural to you. And you're like, hey, like this and this and this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just really helped me. It just fostered creativity in our home. And I think it just makes life brighter and it feels more fulfilling. Yeah. And it's hard to explain, but it's definitely one of those things you have to practice. Like, it's not something that is just gonna, it's definitely, like, there are some people that are born that way who are just like,
oh, amazing.
Yes. But, like, it's not natural for everyone like that. So it's something you have to practice.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things with Sean, the way he grew up, and they were pretty poor. So I think it forced them, to be creative with what they had.
That's true.
And so they would create games from things that they had, let's make a game out of this. So he's one of those kind of people that, I think I've talked about this before where it's like, I'm someone who will just, okay, you want to play Frisbee? Let's play Frisbee and throw a Frisbee. But he turns it into like, no, we're going to have this spot and that spot. And you've got certain points you can earn. And same with ping pong. It's not just ping pong. It's like, okay, you hit the ball and then you run around the table and you got to hit, it's like take it to a whole new level. One thing that we started doing as with extended family, actually, the past 2 Christmases, it's been a really fun memory making thing. We did one of those little like murder mystery things.
Those are so fun.
Where we were all a character. And so we would get in our costumes and have accents.
Okay, that's crazy.
And it was so fun. And we have so many pictures and just would laugh. So I think like that's turning into one of those things where it's like now it's becoming a tradition that something that our kids really want to do because they were having fun with it. And it's just something real creative. And I cannot take the credit for that one, but I think even I think for me, there's some ways where I depended so much on Sean for the creative aspect of our family and our home. Where, like you said, it takes practice and you got to, I don't think I practiced it enough. I think that's one of those, I regret looking back. Now, not to say I can't now, I can do that. But of course, my youngest is 16 already. But I think that's something maybe as a grandparent, I'll work on a little bit more.
Yes.
And there's always ways we can keep growing, right?
Yes.
But I think, I kind of leaned on him because it was something, his more natural bent. But like you said, in the end, I think it was because he practiced it growing up. He practiced with what he had. And I was not nearly as imaginative or, and I think too, even allowing I love that your mom did that with the walls, the decals, because it wasn't something that was going to create a problem or anything like that. So whether it is like that, they got the paint that's like for chalk that you can.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. To even do something like that in your child's room, or to have them help you paint a room or, something like that. I think for Caleb, he's very much a hands-on kind of guy. He likes building things. A number of years ago, now he's one of those, like, he'll find something on YouTube. So this is where YouTube is great,
Yes.
find something on YouTube and can I do this? Can I make this? And so I think where sometimes for me, I kind of want everything just so, or, I've got to let that go a little bit and realize, okay, my garage might be a little messy for a bit, or it may not, it may cost a little bit of money. I may have to invest a little bit and go to the store, or take some time to go get him some things. He made a potato cannon. It was so much fun. And he used it for his birthday one year, and we have taken it to numerous places. You definitely have to be.
Cannon?
Oh my gosh, it's cool. And it does sound like a cannon. I will just say, the first time we used it, it's made out of, what are those, PVC pipe.
Oh, yes,
stuff.
yes.
So it's different sizes of those, and it's fueled. It has like a little, like, I don't even know exactly what all they have in there, but they basically will spray like hairspray, and then they trap it. And so then you've shoved your potato into this cannon, and you have that, and then it just. And this thing, the very first time we did this, it hadn't been working. No. So we had our friend Travis over, and he's like, put a little more hairspray in it. So they put more hairspray in it and plug it up and hit the ignition switch. It's like one of those ignition switches for a grill. And you use that. This thing, and it was at night. We did it off our back deck. Fortunately, there's woods behind our house.
So it flew back there.
But it did sound like a cannon. When you're shooting it off your back deck, it sounds like a cannon, and you could see the fire, like a little bit of fire there. So I was like, oh my gosh. But it was fun though. It was fun.
Yeah.
So it was just this, he had to be creative in terms of figuring out, like, okay, it didn't work. So what could I change? What could I do differently? So in that way, he was being creative and using those kinds of gifts. He loves to go out and, like, work on woods, we've got some scrap wood. If you've got some scrap wood and you've got a kid who, obviously you've got to make sure they're safe. So for a long time, Sean would be out there with him using the different tools. Now at 16, he can use any of the tools. He knows how to use it and does stuff with that. But I think even just letting go as a parent and allowing that creative freedom with a bedroom, I know there was one time our one daughter was like, I want to paint my bedroom. And she literally closed the door, and we did not see it till she was done. It looked great. She did a great job. And, and it stayed like that for years. And then she just kind of added, she had a couple different colors, and then she did that like with her desk too. We allowed her, like, okay, this piece of furniture you can paint. And so she did that, and she found some washi tape and did some washi tape on her little switch plates. And so I think, for a personality like mine that maybe is not quite as creative yourself too, but if you have children who want to be creative, allowing them the freedom to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was
do those science experiments.
Yep.
Or what are you going to make out of Play-Doh? Like, I know all the parents don't like Play-Doh. It's like a pain to clean up.
Yeah, right.
But, just allowing that space to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, when it's not your first instinct to be creative, just like you said, being a facilitator of creativity. It's, like there are kits you can buy, and sometimes it's not even as complex. I feel like we get kind of caught up in, like, it needs to be so elaborate and so this and so that. And it's like, well, no, like, creativity is like baking cool cookies with different toppings, and then letting them help you, it's
letting
like,
them decorate it the way they want. Yes. It doesn't have to look perfect.
No, it doesn't have to look perfect, doesn't need to look put together.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of just letting them have fun. And then I feel like we talked about this in another episode. We talk about when we're talking about leading with fun, just kind of getting out of your comfort zone and sometimes just letting stuff happen the way it happens. You know, obviously you want your kids to be safe and you don't want things to get too crazy and your house to be destroyed. But I mean, there are things you can do to make sure that doesn't happen. But
well, and I think creativity, I think developing that through practice, whether it's you or your children, really helps them too. Like in Caleb's situation, it really is helping him, I think, problem solve.
Yeah.
It's helping him learn how to do it a different way and how to think on his own. And I think that's an important skill to teach our children.
Absolutely,
that they don't necessarily learn in school. Like, okay, think for yourself. We want independent thinkers. We want kids to think for themselves, not to be told like, this is how you have to do it. But just to be able to, think for themselves. So I think it will serve them well for your many years to come if we do that.
Yeah. And us too.
Yes, absolutely. And make our homes a whole lot more fun in the process.
Yes. Well, we hope that you guys learned how to get more creative and to have more fun in your home and just kind of let the wind take you where it takes
I'm going to still work on that one, Jayla. I'm going to keep working on that.
Yes, but if you enjoyed this episode, we've got plenty more for you to go and check out. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can find a podcast, we're there. And if there's anything that you'd like Sarah and I to go over and discuss, we'd love to hear it. Just leave it in the comments and we'll try and get to it. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
All right, see ya.
Bye.